Before we dive in, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more true, emotionally charged stories. Now let me take you into a moment that changed my life forever. I'm Clara, 38 years old. I had always taken pride in how well I managed to maintain myself. I worked out, ate well, kept a skincare routine, and it showed. People often mistook me for being much younger. My husband Nathan used to say I was beautiful all the time, but lately it felt like those compliments were just echoes of a time long gone. Nathan was a successful businessman, too successful maybe. His career demanded almost all his time. He traveled constantly, and even when he was home, he wasn't present. Most days I felt like I lived alone in a beautifully furnished museum of a house. That morning, like so many others, Nathan left before I even woke up. I found comfort in my routines, taking a long shower, putting on my favorite robe, moisturizing. Just small ways of caring for myself in a world that felt increasingly cold. I walked past the guest room, the one we'd recently opened up for Ethan, Nathan's son from a previous marriage. Ethan was 23, and after struggling through a difficult patch in life, Nathan had asked him to move in with us temporarily. I agreed, though truthfully, I was uneasy. I'd grown used to my solitude, and adding another presence, especially a quiet, mysterious one like Ethan, wasn't easy. Still, I tried to stay graceful. I thought of it as temporary, something to endure, not embrace. But one morning, everything changed. Part 2. The open door. Had just stepped out of the shower and was walking toward my bedroom when I heard the creak of a door behind me. I turned. The hallway was dimly lit. There, standing with wide eyes and a stunned expression, was Ethan. "Sorry," he stammered immediately, turning away and shielding his eyes. "I didn't know you were out here. I thought everyone was gone." My heart leapt into my throat. Embarrassment flooded through me as I quickly wrapped my robe tighter. "Ethan, please, just knock next time," I said, trying to sound calm. He apologized again and disappeared down the hallway. But then the end of it, just an awkward accident. But it wasn't. Something about the way he looked at me stayed with me, an unspoken tension I hadn't expected. Not from him, not from me. That evening I tried to shake it off. I got dressed up for a party Nathan had agreed to attend with me. I wore a deep crimson dress, styled my hair, and even added a touch of perfume Nathan used to love. We attended the party, but Nathan was emotionally absent, glued to his phone, only speaking when spoken to. The worst part, he left early for what he called a quick business meeting. I drove home alone, tears threatening to spill. My effort wasted on someone who barely noticed anymore. Part 3. A voice in the silence back home. I kicked off my heels, poured myself a glass of wine, and sank into the kitchen chair. The house was silent again. My reflection in the darkened window stared back at me, haunted and tired. I didn't hear Ethan walk in. "You okay?" he asked gently. Startled, I turned to see him standing in the kitchen doorway, a quiet concern in his eyes. I quickly stood, wiping a tear from my cheek. "Didn't expect you to be home." "My plans changed," he said, shrugging. "Flight got cancelled." Silence stretched between us before he quietly asked, "You don't seem fine." I tried to laugh it off, but it came out hollow. "Just a rough night." Then, something surprising happened. He sat down across from me. "You know," he said, "I've seen how much effort you put in. Not just today. Always you take care of everyone, but who takes care of you?" I didn't know how to answer. In that moment, I wasn't a stepmother. I wasn't Nathan's wife. I was just Clara, a woman neglected, forgotten. His words hit something raw and buried inside me. Part 4. Emotional crossroads. The next few days were strange. Ethan and I barely spoke, but I caught him glancing at me occasionally, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't notice. One morning, I walked into the kitchen to grab my coffee. He was already there. We made small talk. Then, without planning to, I said, "You know, you're the first person who's actually asked me how I'm doing." He smiled gently. "Maybe people should start asking more often." It was innocent, but it felt charged. Still, I tried to keep my distance. Until that night. Nathan had flown out for another extended trip. The house was quiet again. I sat alone on the couch watching an old film, barely paying attention. That's when Ethan walked in. He didn't say much, just sat beside me, quiet and calm. As the movie played, I felt the warmth of his presence beside me. It was dangerous, unspoken, but it was real. Then came the words I didn't expect. "Clara, you're not alone. I see you," even when he doesn't. I turned to face him, heart pounding. "Don't say things like that," I whispered. "You don't know what you're doing." "I do," he replied. "I've never felt this before, and I know I shouldn't, but I can't lie to you." Tears welled up in my eyes, and that's when I heard the door. Part 5. The storm. "Nathan," I said, standing up abruptly. The keys had rattled in the front door. It was him. In a flash, Ethan was on his feet too, taking a few steps back, his face pale. Nathan walked in, stopped, and looked between the two of us. "What's going on?" he asked, eyes narrowing. There was nothing explicit to see, no physical evidence, but the tension was loud. The energy in the room was unmistakable. I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Nathan's face twisted. "You too, really?" I stepped forward. "Nathan, "It's not what you think." But he wasn't hearing it. He stormed upstairs without a word, the door slamming behind him. The night was a storm of silence. I stayed on the couch, staring at the ceiling, unsure of what came next. Part 6. Aftermath. Next morning, Nathan packed a bag and left. He didn't say much, just that he needed space. I didn't stop him. For the first time, I realized I wasn't afraid of him leaving. Ethan stayed in the guest room, and we avoided each other. Eventually, he moved out too. Weeks passed, then months. I didn't chase either of them. Instead, I began chasing myself, my identity, my worth, my strength. What happened was complicated, emotional, but not evil. It was a result of loneliness colliding with attention, of silence crashing into conversation. And though I don't know if I'll ever see Ethan again, I do know this: sometimes the people we end up leaning on are the ones we least expect. The end.